So handsome. Welcome back. Now, our next guest is an EastEnders legend, having first stepped onto Albert Square back in 2001. He's been entertaining soap fans as the lovable rogue Patrick Truman ever since. The laugh.
That's a knowing laugh, isn't it?
Is so good.
Lovable rogue. But despite his success on screen, behind the scenes, it's not all been glitz and glamour for Rudolph Walker. From the highs to the lows, he's lifting the lid about some of the tougher times in his career in his memoir, Walking with Dignity.
And Rudolph joins us now. So handsome on the front of here, may I say.
Well, it is me.
And why was the time now the right time to write the book?
Well, there is so much happening. It was, I didn't set off to publish it at this time or to do anything. It was just a process of writing, jotting things down on bits of paper over many years. And about 18 months ago, I got myself a publisher a year ago, and she said, look, just get on, finish it.
Yeah.
You know, and there is this thing that you keep writing and saying, no, I want to do this. There is something missing. But you had to draw a line. I had to draw a line and say, look, you know what? I got to stop.
Yeah.
And I did, and that's the result.
Well, we're thrilled that you have,
Yeah.
and we'll look forward to the updates as you keep tweaking. But with this, Trinidad's where it all started for you. I thought some of the things that I find absolutely fascinating is hearing about your life there.
Yes.
Before you came to the UK,
Yeah.
and what life was like growing up. Just describe a little bit of that for us.
You know, looking back, I would say that yes, although I came from what we call a sort of a poor family, single-parent family, it was enjoyable. You know, the sort of freedom you have as a youngster, you know, a group of boys getting in the garden and cooking on a weekend, you know,
Yeah.
I would bring a bit of potato, the other one would bring dumplings, and we all get together. And then we play cricket in the, you know, around the corner on the street. We can go into each of those gardens without a dog rushing you, or, you know, there were no barriers, no fence.
You had no running water as well.
I had no running water.
The
so
challenge every morning, you had to go and get the water for the family and things like that?
Well, it was, and again, it was a small family, just my mother and my two sisters. Yes, and I got up sort of 4:30 in the morning and fetch water. But the advantage of doing that is that I was an early riser, of course, because of that, especially in the mango season.
Ah.
You see, because I could go into all the other gardens and collect mangoes, you know, before the boys, and they were still in bed, and their parents were still in bed.
So you got the pick of the mango.
And I got to pick up the mangoes. So I could distribute that to my friends.
Right.
Later on in the day, obviously, I picked the best
for the
ones
family.
for me.
Yeah.
You know, but unlike today, you can't do that because there are fences all over the place. But that freedom I had as a youngster was just fantastic.
So what was it like then, that transition from that real sense of freedom and being outside and, you know, collecting mangoes to then coming here?
Yeah, it was a culture
Difficult,
shock.
right?
Well, difficult, never use the word difficult. It was challenging.
Yeah.
You know, I had a mindset that when I came to the UK that, you know what, I'm here. Good, bad, or indifferent, there is an aim. I want to succeed in the profession, and that's it. So whatever challenges that were thrown to me, I just faced it head on and found a way round.
Yeah.
That.
You always came with the ambition to act, and when you got here, you came up a little bit. I think your agent would send you for roles, and they'd always come back saying, no, this isn't for a black actor. We don't want a black actor. So you faced quite a lot of that in your early career.
Oh, yes, very much so. And of course, the parts were written, you know, they were few and far between. You know, and you had that scenario, yes, that, you know, if you're a doctor, it has to be mentioned in the episode or the whatever you're doing, black actor or black doctor, black road sweeper, black bus conductor. So that was
that was the challenge you were facing.
That was the challenge we were facing, and many of us fought to have that change. You know, there were agents around who, you know, very keen on changing that. And the thing is that you go to a hospital, and 80% of the nurses in those days were from the Caribbean.
Sure.
You know, and really, if you were lying there ill, a few of the patients would say, no, I don't want to be touched by a black nurse. But, you know, majority of them were well cared for by, and
So what was that moment like when you got the part on EastEnders? What was it like walking onto the square and being part of that amazing cast? And also just the show is upheld with such kind of love and people love it, you know?
Well, at the time, I mean, the story behind all that is that, you know, EastEnders, between the executive producer and the casting director, you know, there are several actors over the years they target and say, well, look, one day I'd love to have that guy or I'd love to have that person in the series. And I was approached. I went along, met the executive producer. We had a long chat, and they said, yes, we'd like you to be part of it. There was a part of me, because in those early days, variety was the spice of life. So the idea that I can go into theatre and do this, and I can get on stage, and I can do a television show, different character, that was, you know, that appealed to me. And just the thought of going into something that is the same character for a length of time didn't sit nicely. But of course, my children at the time, you know, and my agent said, no, Rudy.
You got to do it.
You got to do that.
You got to do it.
And I have absolutely no regrets. I sat with the executive producer. We talked about the character and what we would like to bring, what I would like to bring to it. And it's been a marriage that's been hopefully successful.
A fabulous character, a wonderful period, but you're very honest in the book that you went through a difficult time through your divorce while you were playing the character at sort of the height of fame and notoriety, and you end up homeless.
Well, you know, one can't sort of, I'm going to blame the divorce for that. You know, we have challenges in life, you know, and yes, I have been divorced, and there was a period when, you know, I had to leave the home and find somewhere to live. I didn't have the financial means in which at that time to do that. So it meant at times sleeping in bed and breakfast and hotels and things like that. And, you know, there were moments I thought, Christ, if the public see this guy, you know, walking the red carpet and knowing that, you know, I'm in a hotel room or bed and breakfast place, and, you know, it was tough.
Yeah, it was a big difference.
There was a
between
big
the
difference.
perception and the reality.
Yeah, but, you know, I having said that, I had, you know, members of the cast that was very supportive, although they didn't realize what was going on at the time. But these are challenges in life. You know, I arrived here, that was a challenge. You know, separating from, you know, was a challenge. And today you meet challenges, you know, and it's how you deal with it. The period when I came, no dogs, no Irish, no blacks, you know, that was again a challenge.
Signs on pubs, weren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. But I have, and it's where the title of the book came from, Walking with Dignity. I had, you know, aunts around me, you know, and my single parent, my mother, although she was poor, an aunt who was abused by her husband, another aunt who was what we call Trinidad White, an old lady who was, you know, an old aunt who was black. But they had one thing in common, all these people: dignity.
Yeah.
Absolute dignity. And I drew that came from them, their dignity. And hence the reason
And so do you, actually. I
Yeah.
could sit here and listen to your stories all day. I was looking at the picture of Muhammad Ali in there as well. It's an amazing book with loads of different,
stories.
amazing stories. Thank you for joining us this
Bless
morning.
you, and thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Lovely to see you, Rudolph.
Amazing.
And
to meet
there's
you.
one little thing I'd like to add, because, you know, it's a period when we've lost a very iconic figure in Liam. And to me, it's a message for the powers that be. We need to invest more in the well-being of our younger people.
Yeah.
Hear, hear.
I think it's
We
very
need
timely,
to
Rudolph.
invest. It's a message that we mustn't miss.
Absolutely.
The well-being of our young people, the ones who are walking the streets, the knife crimes. We need to invest into their state of mind.
They're the future
Please.
generation.
They're the future generation.
Thank you for
Thank you,
joining us,
Rudolph,
Rudolph.
for coming
Thank you.
in. His memoir, Walking with Dignity, is out now.